in case you wondered. So I'm in Colorado. I've been with ONEHOPE since 2015. I love what ONEHOPE does. I love what I get to do with ONEHOPE. And I love to share it with folks. So if you are visiting for the first time and you're here to hear about ONEHOPE, you're in the right place. If you're already part of ONEHOPE, you're also in the right place because you're going to probably hear some little stories and things that you can then share out to your friends and family and new acquaintances that are trying to join the team. So ONEHOPE was founded 14 years ago this month by a group of young folks who were working together at Gallo Wine. The instigator, if you will, was a young man named Jake Cloberdance. Jake had just graduated from Berkeley. He was just 24 years old. And he, through a series of events, decided he wanted to start a wine company that would give back to charity. And so he convinced the other young people he was working with into joining him in this venture, which means that they pooled their money, which looked a lot like maxing out credit cards and probably calling parents and saying, "Mom, I want to start this new wine business." Together, they came up with about $10,000, and that's what they used to start their wine business. They went up to, Jake actually went up to the Sonoma Wine Company and talked to the folks up there and asked them to pull a bunch of wine off of a big run they were doing for another wine label and give it to them in shiners. Shiners are wine bottles with no labels. Jake was also the fundraising chair for his fraternity. So we had lots of relationships with different nonprofits. And that was always very much part of who Jake was at his core is, he's alive, he's great. That sounded very past tense. Jake is very much a philanthropist and was raised by a very philanthropic mom and dad and grandma. So he approached some of these nonprofit organizations and said, "Hey, I'm starting a wine company and I want it to give back." At that time, they donated 50% of their profits to charity. He said, "I'll put your name on my bottle if you'll allow me to raise money for your organization." And of course, they were, of course, we'll do that. So we started out with 3 varietals and worked with 3 different organizations. And we still work with at least 2 of those organizations to date. And we've sort of changed how we give. We've broadened how we give. We've certainly increased how much we've given. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit more as we go on. So this was 14 years ago. We started out with 8 founders, and there are 6 of them still remaining. And I just think it's such a great story. They've gone from being college graduates to getting married and having children. I think the last one got married this weekend. I think Brandon was the last single founder, and he got married at the estate this weekend. So we do have an estate in Napa, right in Rutherford, right in the heart of Napa on the St. Helena Highway. We are right next to the Mondavi Vineyards, right across the street from Cakebread. So we're in a really beautiful spot in Napa. We have a very special relationship with the Mondavi family as well. The kids, the founders, had an opportunity to pour this wine that they were selling in the very beginning at a big industry event. And at that event, they happened to meet Michael Mondavi. And he tried the wine. He's loved what they were doing, was so excited about their passion to give back and make the world better through wine. And of course, being from a wine background, if you don't know who that Mondavi name, by the way, the Mondavis are who started the wine industry in California. Robert Sr. was the first vintner to open a winery to the public. So this is his son, Michael, who has this opportunity to meet these young people and taste their wine and really fall in love with their mission, but their wine, not so much. So he offered an opportunity to partner with them and create some wine that would really be equal to their mission. right? So some really good wine to go with a really good mission. So we've worked with the Mondavi family almost the entire 14 years. Just about, I mean, I guess now it's been about 6 years ago. And the wine was sold in bars, restaurants, liquor stores. It was sold commercially. And about 6 years ago, they had an idea to start doing what they called a brand ambassador program, which very quickly became very popular and turned into a very legitimate direct selling program, which is what we are all in. And so what we do in the direct selling space is primarily we do private and home wine tastings. We work with nonprofits to raise money for what they're doing. We work with corporations for their gifting. Everything that we do gives back, not just to our charities, but the host or the company also gets to choose a charity. And then 10% of the sales at every event we do is donated back to the host cause of choice. Now, obviously during COVID, we had to, everybody say it with me, pivot. How much do we hate that word now? We did have to pivot. Although I think the Friends reunion kind of revived Pivot a little bit if you watched it. But so we did have to pivot, and very, very, very quickly, many of the people that you see on this call banded together and began doing and working together to do online fundraisers, virtual wine tastings, sort of anything that we could do to keep people safe, but still get wine on their doorstep at a time when they really needed it. And it was wildly successful. So we now have a multi-layered business where we are doing things in person, we're doing things virtually, we're doing things online. It's been an incredible experience for all of us. We now have these beautiful tasting kits that have 4 small bottles of wine, a lot of literature, things like that, that we do use for virtual tastings. So they're absolutely gorgeous. They're very affordable for the folks who are coming to the tasting. It makes the tasting real smooth. So you can find out more about that. The other thing that happened during COVID and during that time was our company more than doubled in size. And that's really because so many folks lost their jobs. And a lot of the jobs that were lost were in the hospitality industry. And we are a perfect fit for folks in hospitality. So people were able to join us at a time when they didn't really know what was going to happen. This is before, and again, before anybody really knew what this was all going to look like. And I see several of them on the call now, and they've had just an incredible experience. So you can rest assured that OneHope has got your back. We are going to teach you, train you, coach you as you grow your business. We love welcoming new folks into the fold. We do have 3 different ways to join. Everybody will join with a $39 startup, and that gives you access to all of our training, wine education, training on how to run a business, different self-development stuff. And then it's also going to give you access to a website, which ends up being $12 a month or $99 a year. You can upgrade that membership with wine to bring it up to $149, in which you will get 6 bottles of our Vintner Collection wine. And then you can upgrade it again for up to $199. Well, you'll get that same 6 bottles, but you're also going to get one of our tasting kits that I was telling you about. And you're also going to get a credit for 6 more bottles that you can share with your first host. We want you to be your first host, but somebody's going to want to have a wine tasting in their backyard or their living room or something like that. You can gift that person an additional 6 bottles for that. And plus it comes with all kinds of other fun stuff. So whoever you're talking to about joining OneHope, they will have all of that information for you. Once you get started, we right away start rewarding you for getting into action. The first thing you want to do is share your excitement and tell everybody what you've done. One of my favorite sponsoring, recruiting. We don't like to say recruiting because then it makes it sound like the military. It's definitely not the military. But one of my favorite things to tell people to do when they're wondering, gosh, should I join? I'm not sure. It sounds cool to me, but I don't know. I tell them, just go start sharing it with your friends and see what they say. What would you think if I started representing a wine company that gave back to charity? What would you think if I started doing wine parties that gave back to charity? Go ahead, see what happens. You'll sign up like that because everybody wants to be part of that. I think I've kind of gone through who we are, what we do, and our history. I do want to talk about the opportunity that we offer. I've given you how to get in. Now, here's why and what will happen. So, first of all, you become part of a community of women and men who are truly amazing. Think about it. All of us have the same goal, and that is to give back to charity. And we all love wine. I want to hang out with these people, right? This is a great, incredible community, a great group of women and men who are going to support you, cheer you on, just absolutely. I mean, one of the things that people say is, I made a ton of new friends. So that's one of the reasons why. The potential here for literally everything from making a couple of $100s a month to making a couple $100,000 a year is available to you, and literally everything in between. We are here to support you in what you want. There are definitely people who honestly, they just want to get out of the house a couple nights a week, or they just want to buy their own wine and get it at a discount and maybe get paid for it. And then there are other people who really have made this a career and are making career income doing it. We're here for all of it, and we're here to support you through all of it. So I want you to know that. The feeling that you get when you host a wine tasting for somebody who's raising money for something that they are deeply passionate about, there's literally nothing like it. I mean, when you get the thank you notes and, people are just so amazed at how you raised $100 or $200 or $300 for their organization just by sitting with their friends and drinking wine. It's just incredible. We live in a state of gratitude at ONEHOPE. We have a saying here that we are entitled to nothing and grateful for everything. And we really live by that. And again, that just is an illustration of the kind of people you're going to hang out with at ONEHOPE. So I think that's kind of my spiel tonight. What I'd love to do is sort of open it for questions. If you want to unmute yourself, you can go up in the upper right-hand corner of your picture and go ahead and unmute yourself. I guess you have to ask to unmute, or you can type questions in the chat. You've got an incredible group of folks in here that will help answer any questions that you have. Sometime we should add up our combined experience so that we can tell folks how many years of experience we have doing this. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and actually pause the recording now because